Welcome to Talk Treatises. Today we were doing something a little unexpected.
Yeah, a bit off the beaten path for us.
Exactly. I want you to picture the year 1941. The world is effectively on fire. World War II is ramping up, uncertainty is just everywhere, and people are desperately looking for an escape.
Right.
So you walk into a drugstore, the bell chimes above the door, you spin that little wire rack of magazines, and you grab a copy of a pulp sci-fi magazine.
The pulps. Cheap paper, lurking monsters, heroes with jawlines. You could cut glass on them. And women in distress wearing inexplicable amounts of chrome.
Yeah, the classic stuff. You flip it open expecting, I don't know, ray guns, bug-eyed monsters, the usual escapism. You just want to get away from the newsreels for an hour.
You're looking for a distraction, a bit of space opera to numb the anxiety of the real world.
But instead, you stumble onto a story. And on the surface, sure, it's got space pirates. It's got a guy named Uruk.
Great pulp name. So good. It's got a spaceship with rocket tubes. But we've been reading through this text for today's deep dive, and this isn't just a space opera, is it?
Not even close. Honestly, calling this text a space opera is like calling Moby Dick a fishing pamphlet.
That is a great way to put it.
It disguises itself as trashy fiction, but what we are actually looking at today is a rigorous, almost terrifying theological allegory.
Which is a massive claim for a magazine story that probably cost a dime back then. You really think the author was trying to write a sermon in between ads for X-ray specs?
I stand by it. I really think he did it intentionally. He was writing at a time of intense moral crisis. And he used the genre, this safe, completely disregarded genre of sci-fi, to smuggle in some incredibly heavy concept.
The Trojan horse.
Exactly. We're going to deconstruct this text today, and I think by the end of our deep dive, you'll see it too. We are talking about the corruption of the human soul, the nature of divine judgment, and my personal favorite part, the geometry of redemption. The geometry of redemption. I love that phrasing. It sounds like a math class I might actually pass.
It really does.
So our mission today is to strip the paint off this hull. We want to see how this trashy sci-fi setting is used to ask a profound question: can a man walk through hell without catching fire?
And more importantly, is following the law, like having the physical paperwork to prove you're good, actually enough to save you? Or does it require something much more dangerous?
Let's dive in. So set the scene for us. Where does this story open? Because we don't start in a church or a courtroom.
No, we start in the gutter. Specifically, we are on Ceres, out in the asteroid belt. And the location is a settlement called Halo City.
Halo City. It sounds lovely. Angelic, almost, like a nice retirement community.
You'd think so. But the text is being incredibly sarcastic right out of the gate. It explicitly calls it a sardonically named pirate base.
Sardonically named. Okay, so we're getting a wink right from the start.
Think about the imagery. A halo is a crown of light. It signifies sanctity, holiness, the literal presence of God. But that symbol is taken and placed on Ceres, a cold, dark rock floating in the vacuum, millions of miles from the sun.
It's completely barren.
Right. It's crowning a cutthroat existence with a holy name.
So it's pure irony.
It's irony, but it's also theology. Halo City is purgatory. It represents a state of the soul in total dissipation. The people there aren't living, they're hiding. They have stripped themselves of all virtue.
Wow.
It's a place where the light is artificial and the darkness is very, very real. It is a pirate base, yes, but structurally, it is a spiritual state of being lost.
And walking through this halo, we meet our protagonist, Ron Jordan. And I have to say, if they cast this, they'd be looking for someone who looks absolutely wrecked.
Oh, completely.
Introduce us to him.
Right. So if you saw Ron Jordan walking down the street in Halo City, you wouldn't think hero. You'd think victim.
Yeah.
The description in the text is brutal. It says he presented a disgusting sight of an Earthman in the last stages of dissipation.
Ouch. Disgusting sight. That is harsh for your main character.
Dirty clothes, worn out, hunched shoulders. He looks broken. He looks like a man who has lost absolutely everything. His money, his dignity, his soul. He blends right in with the scum of the asteroid belt.
And here's the kicker for the listener. We find out pretty quickly that this is an act.
Yes. The text says the outward appearance was all a disguise.
Okay, so he's acting. Is he an undercover cop? A vigilante? Why go to such extremes to look so pathetic?
He's a pilgrim. And this is where we really have to pause and look at the theology. Why disguise yourself as a bum? Why not disguise yourself as a rich merchant or a tough mercenary? Those would be way better disguises in a pirate city, right?
Yeah, if you want respect, you act tough. If you look weak in a pirate city, you get eaten.
Exactly. But looking weak makes you invisible. And metaphorically, this mirrors a very specific theological tradition called kenosis.
Kenosis. Now, don't get too academic on me here. Break that down for us.
Sure. It comes from the Greek. It means self-emptying. In Christian theology, it refers to the incarnation, the idea that the divine emptied itself of its glory and status to become human, to enter the mud and the dirt of our existence.
So to save the people in the dirt, you literally have to get in the dirt.
Literally. You can't rescue someone from a pit by standing on the edge and shouting instructions down at them. You have to go down.
Right.
Jordan empties himself of his status. He lowers himself to the level of Halo City. He essentially becomes sin in appearance so he can navigate the world of sinners. He has to look like he belongs in hell to walk through it.
He really commits to the bit, too. There's a scene right at the beginning, early on in the text, that really made me flinch. He runs into a bully.
The bulking Martian.
Yeah, the Martian. Describe this encounter, because I think this is where the character is truly defined for the reader. It is physically painful to read.
So Jordan is walking along, hunching his shoulders, playing the part. A massive Martian stumbles out of a bar. He's drunk, he's aggressive, and he slams right into Jordan. Now, in a typical pulp story of that era, what does the hero do here?
Oh, easy. Square jaw, right hook, catchy one-liner, like, watch your step, pal. Bam! Martian goes flying through a window.
Precisely. That is the genre expectation. But Jordan doesn't do that. He apologizes.
He apologizes.
He cowers. He says, I'm sorry. And the Martian, who acts as this archetype of godless brute force, is disgusted by it. He says, listen to him. He apologizes. The stum. And then he hits him.
He hits him. Just for apologizing.
A vicious backhand blow across the face. Jordan goes down. He falls right into the filth of the street.
Okay, now I'm waiting for the turn. This is the part where Jordan stands up, wipes the blood from his lip, and reveals he's actually a martial arts master.
You want that to happen. The listener desperately wants that to happen. The text even says hot anger flooded his brain. Jordan wants to do it. But the text follows up with, however, he restrained himself. He stays down. He cringes.
Why, if he can take this guy, why take the beating? It seems almost masochistic.
Because his mission isn't to win a street fight. It's to save his brother. If he fights back now, if he shows his strength, two things happen. One, he blows his cover immediately. But two, and this is the deeper theological point, he succumbs to the logic of Halo City.
The logic of violence.
Right. This is the trial of humility. To defeat the Martian, who represents power and domination, you don't use power, you use discipline. This is passive resistance utilized as a weapon.
But it's almost Gandhi-esque or biblical, turning the other cheek, not because you are weak, but because you have a higher ultimate goal.
It is the absolute mastery of the self. The argument here is that before you can fight the big evil, the systemic evil, you have to conquer your own ego. Jordan takes the hit, and it gets worse. The Martian accuses him of being an Eichenhound.
I caught that. Eischen stems. I'm assuming that's the sci-fi version of what? Heroin?
Yeah.
Opium?
Something like that. It implies he's a hopeless junkie. The Martian says people who chew that stuff ought to live. Killing them be too merciful. And then he kicks Jordan in the ribs.
Yeah.
And Jordan clenches his teeth and just takes it. This is the mortification of the flesh. He becomes invisible by becoming pathetic. It establishes that Jordan's strength is entirely internal. In a world of loud external force, he is the hidden virtue.
Wow. So he survives the street. He crawls away from the bully, clutching his ribs. He makes it to the spaceport. And now we finally get to the plot hook. What is he actually looking for?
He has been waiting a month in this hellhole for a specific ship, the Lucifer.
Okay, subtlety is not the strong suit here. The ship is literally named Lucifer.
Look, it's a pulp story. You don't have time for nuance when you're paid by the word, but it works. He is looking for the vessel of the fallen angel, the ship that brings the light or the fire.
And does he find it?
He finds a ship that matches the physical description. Black, sleek, triple rear tubes. But the name painted on the prow isn't Lucifer. It says Martian Belle.
The Martian Belle. Sounds like a riverboat casino or a nice southern lady.
It sounds lovely, completely innocuous. But Jordan isn't convinced. And this is where we get a wonderful little sci-fi gadget that I really wish existed in real life, the Penetro button.
The Penetro button. It sounds like something from a late-night infomercial. Order now and get a second Penetro button free. What does it actually do?
It is a flashlight attachment that uses a specific frequency of light to see straight through fresh paint.
Nice.
Jordan shines it on the hull. It cuts through the crisp white paint of the Martian bell and reveals the old, deeply scarred letters underneath. Lucifer.
I love this image.
Yeah.
It is the classic whitewashed tomb trope.
Exactly. You can paint over the nature of evil. You can rebrand it. You can call it the Martian bell. You can call it corporate restructuring. You can call it necessary collateral damage. But if you have the light of truth, the penetro button, the structural reality remains Lucifer.
You cannot hide the name of the beast.
Not from the person who is actively looking for it. And notice, Jordan finds it because he is looking for the corruption. He suspects the lie from the start.
So he identifies the ship. Now he needs the captain. Enter Tarnuf.
Tarnuf. Such a great villain name. Seems guttural and heavy. He's the Martian captain. Described as arrogant, physically imposing, Jordan waits for him in the shadows.
And this is where Jordan finally drops the weakling act, right? He pulls a gun.
He does. He steps out of the dark, pistol drawn. He tries the direct approach. Hands up, sign this confession.
He wants a confession to clear his brother, Carl. We should probably mention Carl. What is the deal there? Why is Jordan doing all this?
Right, the stakes. His brother Carl is rotting in a Venus prison swamp, which, by the way, sounds absolutely terrible. I imagine it's hot, wet, and full of things that bite.
Sounds like the worst possible vacation spot.
Indeed. Carl is there for a crime he didn't commit. Tarnuf framed him. So Ron Jordan is on a mission of substitutionary atonement.
Substitutionary atonement.
He is placing himself in imminent danger to free the captive. He's playing the Redeemer figure. But his first attempt to force justice fails.
Because of Oruk.
Because of Oruk. Jordan pulls the gun on Tarnuf, but he forgets to check his corners. Tarnuf's henchman, literally named Oruk, flanks him.
Can we talk about the name Oruk for a second? It sounds like orc. It just sounds like a grunt.
It perfectly represents brute force. Jordan tries to use the threat of violence, his pistol, to get justice, but he is immediately overcome by greater violence, Oruk. He gets strangled, captured, and tossed onto the ship.
So the direct, aggressive approach fails. The law of the gun doesn't work for the good guy yet.
Not yet. Because he hasn't confronted the true nature of the sin yet. He's just fighting the people. He needs to confront the psilocyte.
Ah, the psilocytes. This is the science fiction part of the text, but honestly reading it, it feels more like horror.
It is body horror applied to architecture.
Break it down for us. What exactly is a psilocyte?
Okay, so in this universe, psilocytes are silicon-based life forms found only on the large asteroids. They're described as being almost human in shape, which is creepy enough, but they have a silicic life base.
And they are illegal.
Highly illegal. There's a ban from 2139 forbidding their removal from the asteroids on penalty of death.
Why? Are they dangerous predators? Do they hunt people?
That's the fascinating thing. They don't eat people. They don't have claws or fangs in the traditional animalistic sense. They have an insatiable appetite for metal.
They eat the ship.
They eat civilization. Think about it. In space, metal is life. Metal is the hull that keeps the vacuum out. Metal is the engine. Metal is the airlock. The psilocytes emit these peculiar crystalline emanations that corrode the metal, make it soft, and then they digest it.
And when they digest it, they radiate heat?
Rosy, radiant heat. They glow. They are actually beautiful.
That's disturbing. It's a beautiful thing that actively eats the safety of your world.
That is the perfect definition of sin in this allegory. The psilocytes represent the corrosion of materialism, or perhaps the sin of greed. The text describes them as brittle and fragile. You could literally crush one with your boot.
So they aren't physically tough.
No. And that is a huge theological insight. Sin often appears fragile. It doesn't look like a raging monster. It looks like a delicate crystal. It looks pretty. It looks like a little shortcut, little white lie, a little bit of cooking the books. It seems entirely manageable. But its appetite is infinite.
And it eats the very container that holds it.
Exactly. If you bring a psilocyte onto a spaceship, you are inviting the very thing that will inevitably destroy that spaceship. It is logical suicide. But Tarnuf, our villain, has a hold completely full of them.
Because they're worth money.
A fortune. He's smuggling them. He is trading his safety and the safety of his entire crew for profit.
So Jordan is trapped on this ship, the Lucifer, which is secretly carrying a cargo that is slowly eating the walls around them.
It is a ticking clock. Jordan is thrown into a holding cell, but he manages to escape. And this leads to the second confrontation with Oruk,
The rematch.
The rematch. And this time, it's down in the rocket room. It's boiling hot. The tubes are firing. Jordan fights Uruk again.
And this time he wins.
He wins. It's a desperate, ugly, violent fight. He kills Uruk.
So brute force is dead.
Brute force is dead. But the danger isn't over. Jordan takes Uruk's gun and marches right up to the control room. He confronts Tarnuf again. Sign the confession.
We're back to the standoff. But Tarnuf doesn't fold.
No, and this time he uses words, not fists. This is what I call the dialectic of complicity.
Complicity. Meaning Tarnuf thinks Jordan is guilty now, too.
Tarnuf plays a brilliant mind game here. He reveals the cargo. He says, look, Jordan, we have a full load of psilocytes. This is a strict death penalty offense.
And Jordan says, so what? That's your problem.
But Tarnuf says, no, it's our problem. Because the law doesn't care that Jordan is the good guy. Jordan is on the Lucifer. Jordan is piloting the Lucifer. If they land on Earth, the authorities will find the psilocytes. They won't ask questions. They will execute absolutely everyone on board.
You're in this with me now.
It is the contagion of sin. Tarnuf is arguing that mere proximity to the vessel of corruption compromises the pilgrim's legal standing. You cannot touch pitch without getting defiled.
That's a terrifying argument. It completely strips away Jordan's moral high ground.
It certainly tries to. And then Tarnuf offers a deal, a 50-50 split. He says, help me land this contraband, we both get rich, and then you can go save your brother with your half of the money.
It's the temptation in the wilderness. All this I will give you if you just bow down.
Trade your righteousness for profit and survival. And it's a deeply rational offer. If Jordan lands the ship to turn Tarnuf in, Jordan dies by the law. If he helps Tarnuf, he lives and gets rich. Logic dictates he should take the deal.
But Jordan refuses.
He says, I don't want any part of your filthy business.
But he's stuck. He can't land without dying. And he can't let Tarnuf go without losing the confession. It's a complete stalemate.
And that stalemate cannot be resolved inside the ship. The ship is spiritually compromised. The world of the narrative is broken. So Tarnuf proposes the only solution this theology allows.
The duel.
But not just a shootout in the hallway. Tarnuf says one loose atomic bullet would blast right through the hull. Remember, the hull is already weak from the psilocytes eating it.
So they have to go outside.
They have to go into the void.
This image really stuck with me. Two men in bulky spacesuits, magnetic boots, clamped to the exterior hull of a ship that is hurtling through the absolute vacuum of space. It's perfectly silent. It's dark.
The symbolism is incredibly heavy. The duel cannot be settled inside the vessel of corruption. It must be settled in the absolute truth of the void. Space is the nakedness of the soul before the cosmos. There is nowhere to hide, no furniture to duck behind, no atmosphere to carry lies.
Just you, the enemy, and the stars.
And the terms are simple. One bullet apiece.
Why just one?
Marksmanship is not all, Tarnuf says. This is not a test of physical reflex. It is a test of will and cunning. And here, we really see the true nature of evil's strategy. Tarnuf suggests they use identical Martian pistols. He puts them on the table. He actually lets Jordan choose.
That seems surprisingly fair. Chivalrous, almost.
It seems that way. Jordan picks one. Tarnuf takes the other. They suit up and go out the airlock.
Okay, so we are on the hull. We have the good guy and the bad guy. They each have one bullet.
And Jordan is terrified. He knows Tarnuf is tricky. He knows he's severely outmatched in terms of cunning. He's alone out there with his conscience. And he looks around for cover. But there is zero cover on a sleek spaceship hull.
Except for one thing.
The body of Uruk.
Oh, right. The henchman he killed earlier.
Yeah.
The body must have drifted.
It got sucked out of the disposal chute and became wedged between the exterior rocket tubes. It's just caught there in the structural supports.
This is such a gruesome image. Jordan crawling across the metal hull and finding the frozen, rigid corpse of the man he just killed.
It is grotesque, but look at the incredible utility of it. Jordan realizes he can't beat Tarnuf in a straight, quick draw, so he decides to use the corpse. He dislodges it.
He uses the dead weight of his past sin as a shield.
That is a brilliant way to put it, yes. The physical consequence of his violence, the dead body, becomes the tool for his salvation. Jordan drags the body. He needs to trick Tarnuf.
So he stuffs Uruk's body into a spare spacesuit.
Yes. Which, by the way, he has to go back inside and get from a storage room. And guess what's currently loose in the storage room?
A psilocytes.
The psilocytes, he has to break a port window to reach in and grab a suit. And the text says the psilocytes literally swarm him. They're clashing their tentacles.
He has to reach directly through the sin to get the armor.
Exactly. He pushes through the embodiment of greed to prepare his stratagem. He gets the suit, stuffs the rigid corpse into it, and pushes the suited dummy up over the curve of the hull.
He's baiting the shot.
He's playing on Tarnoff's anxiety. Tarnoff sees a helmet slowly rise over the horizon of the ship. He reacts instantly. He fires his one bullet.
Bang. Or, well, science space, bang.
The helmet shatters. The head blows clean off. The ruse had worked, the text says. Tarnoff had fired his bullet.
Tarnoff thinks he won.
And this is the classic hubris of the antagonist. Pride precedes the fall. Tarnoff stands up. He carelessly drops his gun. He starts gloating over the radio. He thinks Jordan is dead.
And then Jordan stands up.
Alive. Armed. He has the drop on Tarnoff. The game is over. Jordan has won.
But Tarnoff starts laughing.
That is the truly chilling moment. You have a gun pointed right at his chest and he laughs. He says, "You never had a chance, Jordan. I counted on your Earth chivalry."
Earth chivalry. He used Jordan's innate fairness against him.
Tarnoff reveals the trick. The pistols were not identical. Tarnoff knew Jordan would pick the one that looked cleaner, or perhaps he just rigged the odds. The pistol Jordan is holding right now, the one he's pointing at, Tarnoff, is a reverse pistol.
A reverse pistol. Like a gag gift.
Like a death trap. It fires backward. The barrel is completely sealed. The breech is designed to explode. If Jordan pulls the trigger to kill Tarnoff, the gun detonates in his own hand and kills Jordan instantly.
That is diabolical.
It is the ultimate trap of evil. Evil assumes that good will eventually try to use the enemy's tools. And when you use the enemy's tools, violence, treachery, deception, they are rigged to blow up in your face. Tarnoff says, go ahead and pull it and blast yourself to dust.
So we're at a stalemate again. Jordan can't shoot because he'll die. Tarnoff can't shoot because he wasted his bullet on the corpse.
And while they are frozen in this deadlock on the outside of the ship beneath their feet starts to groan.
The psilocytes.
Remember when Jordan broke the port window to get the spacesuit?
He broke the seal. He let them out.
He let them out. The psilocytes are swarming the exterior hull now. The text explicitly says literally dozens of psilocytes were swarming all over the hull, devouring it, digesting it. They are glowing with that rosy, radiant heat. The ship is literally being eaten from underneath them.
The floor is turning into lava.
The vessel Lucifer is being consumed by the very contraband it carried. The structure of the lie collapses under the weight of its own appetite. Tarnoff screams in terror. He realizes that his precious cargo is destroying his only lifeboat.
It's total chaos. And right in the middle of this, a light appears in the sky.
The Terra, the patrol ship.
The space cops are here.
The Terra, note the name too. Earth, ground, stability, the exact opposite of the Void and the pirates.
So Tarnoff panics. He knows he's caught. He knows the game is finally up. But he has one last vicious move. The confession paper.
The word! The legal proof of innocence! Tarnoff pulls it out of his pocket. He says, it won't do either of you any good. By the time that patrol ship gets here, there won't be any paper.
He's gonna burn it.
He runs toward the main rocket tubes. He's gonna throw the paper straight into the exhaust blast. If that paper burns, Jordan's brother rots in the Venus swamp forever.
And Jordan, who is holding a gun that he believes will kill him if he pulls the trigger, has to make a choice.
This is the ultimate climax. Does he save his own life? Or does he sacrifice himself to save the truth?
He raises the gun.
He fires, and the gun fires forward.
Yes.
The text says Tarnoff had been bluffing. There was no reverse action to it.
It was a double bluff.
It was a lie built entirely on a lie. Tarnoff lied about the gun to freeze Jordan in fear. But because Jordan acted, because he was willing to sacrifice himself to stop the destruction of the paper, he discovered the truth. The gun was fine.
So the bullet hits Tarnoff.
It hits him. Tarnoff falls. He falls right into the rocket blast.
Justice served.
But tragedy follows. The paper falls with him. The text says it vanished in an insignificant little puff of flame.
Oh no. So he lost it anyway.
The physical word is destroyed. The document that proves Carl's innocence is gone, burned in the fires of the Lucifer's exhaust. Jordan is left sitting on the dissolving hull, holding a smoking gun with absolutely no proof, waiting for the police to arrive.
He failed. I mean, he killed the bad guy, but he lost the one thing he came for.
And that is exactly where most stories would end, with a bitter pulp irony. But the author has one more theological card to play, and it changes everything about how we understand judgment.
The patrol ship pulls up alongside them.
Yeah.
Commander Graham hails Jordan.
Jordan is expecting to be arrested. He has no proof. He's a dirty pirate on a pirate ship holding a recently fired gun. But Graham says something incredible.
He says, "We heard everything."
Lucky thing for you, Jordan, we've had you in our MagnaView plate for the past half hour and in our phones for the past 10 minutes.
They were watching the whole time.
They saw the whole thing, the duel, the trick with the corpse, the confession, the sacrifice. The patrol represents divine providence or omniscience. They are the cloud of witnesses.
So the paper, it didn't even matter.
The paper was a MacGuffin. It was just the law. It was fragile. It was flammable. But the truth was observed. The verdict doesn't depend on the paper. It depends on the observation of the higher power.
You're in the clear, Graham says.
Jordan is saved, not by his document, but by his righteous actions, which were witnessed by the judge.
Yeah. And the Lucifer. What happens to the ship?
The patrol beams Jordan over to the Terra. They leave the Lucifer behind. The text notes the damn things were insatiable, eating the ship. The vessel of sin is left to be consumed by its own greed. It just vanishes into the dark.
That is, wow. That is a heavy ending for a pulp magazine story.
It's perfect. It completely refutes the idea that evil is a rival, equal power to good. Evil is self-cannibalizing. If you leave evil alone, it eats itself. Good just has to survive long enough to be witnessed.
That is the geometry of redemption right there. Descent, endurance, witness, ascent.
Precisely. And if we zoom out a bit and look at the legacy of this work, it's really about refuting Manichean dualism.
Manichean dualism. Unpack that for us.
It's the ancient idea that the universe is a battlefield between two equal opposing powers, good and evil, light and dark. But this text is saying no. Evil, represented by Tarnuf and the psilocytes, is inherently unstable. It's brittle. It eats itself. The Lucifer destroys the Lucifer. The reverse pistol is just a bluff. Evil relies entirely on fear and deception, but it actually has no real substance.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
And once you blow the smoke away or shine the penetro button on it, it collapses.
It feels incredibly relevant today, too. I mean, we aren't fighting space pirates on Ceres, but look at the psilocyte metaphor.
The psilocyte is terrifyingly modern. A silicon-based entity that we willingly invite into our lives that looks shiny and radiant, but steadily eats the hull of our society.
I mean, are we talking about tech addiction, social media, corporate greed?
It's really hard not to make that connection. We build these massive structures, social networks, corporate algorithms entirely out of silicon. They are rosy radiant. They capture our attention, but they have an insatiable appetite. They eat attention. They eat privacy. They eat the very metal of social cohesion.
And just like in the story, we're effectively forbidden from removing them. Penalty of death, or at least social and economic death. You can't just delete the internet.
Exactly. We are trapped on the ship with the thing that is actively eating the ship. And the question is, do we have the will to go out on the hull and fight for the truth, even if it means risking everything?
And the reverse pistol idea, too. Using the enemy's methods.
We see this in geopolitics constantly. We see it in modern political discourse. I have to lie because they are lying. I have to be cruel because they are cruel. But the text warns us, when you pick up the weapon of treachery, check the breech. It's probably going to blow your hand off.
The only way Jordan survived was because he hesitated. He didn't fire to kill out of anger. He fired to save the paper.
His intent completely changed the outcome.
This has been just a lot. My brain feels like it's been through a centrifuge.
That is the sign of a good deep dive.
All right, before we let everyone go, it is time for our thought experiment segment.
Disclaimer. The following segment is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please do not attempt to replicate philosophical paradoxes in a vacuum, literal or otherwise, especially if you are currently holding a reverse pistol.
We legally have to say that. Okay, experiment number 1, the silicon Eucharist.
Okay, stick with me here. In the text, the psilocytes digest metal and radiate a beautiful light. It's described almost like a holy aura.
Okay, where are we going with this?
Imagine a society where sins are physical entities. Let's call them psilocytes. Now, usually we try to hide sins or banish them. We lock them in the hold. But in this hypothetical society, let's say we have a deeply corrupt city. The infrastructure is bad. The government is corrupt. The metal is completely rusted.
Okay.
To purge the structure, the architects intentionally introduce psilocytes. They let the sins in on purpose.
They let the sins in.
Yes, the psilocytes eat the corroded metal. They consume the flawed structure. And in doing so, they convert the rust into light, into heat, into energy.
So the destruction creates the purification.
The question is the destruction of the vessel necessary for the purification of the space? Does the psilocyte become holy by revealing the impermanence of the material world? Think about it. If the Lucifer had not been eaten, the psilocytes would have been sold for profit. The evil would have just continued. By eating the ship, they destroyed the profit motive. Did the psilocytes essentially perform a righteous act?
That turns the whole thing on its head. The sin becomes the cleansing fire. It implies that sometimes you have to let the system collapse to save the soul of the people inside it.
Precisely. Is it better to patch up a rotting ship or let the psilocytes eat it so you can be beamed up to the Terra?
I think I'd rather be beamed up, but the transition sounds incredibly painful.
Redemption usually is.
All right, experiment number 2. This one is based on the ending. The omniscient audience paradox.
This one haunts me. The patrol saves Ron only because they were watching via Magnaview. They saw the truth.
Right.
Scenario. You are in a duel on the whole of your life. You have the signed confession that clears your name, the definitive proof of your goodness, the thing that proves you were right and they were wrong. You are about to die. You have 2 choices.
Yeah, give them to me.
Option A. You save the confession, you wrap it in plastic, you hide it safely in your suit. But in doing so, you are slow and you are killed by your enemy. You die, but the paper's found on your body. The world knows you were innocent.
Okay, the martyr's play. I'm dead, but my reputation is saved.
Option B. You destroy the confession. You use it as kindling to start a fire to signal for help, or you throw it away to distract the enemy. You save your own life. You survive. But the proof is gone forever. Everyone will think you were guilty. You have to have absolute faith that the patrol is watching.
So, do you trust the physical evidence, the law, or the invisible observer, grace?
And here's the twist. If you choose B, faith and observation, but the patrol wasn't watching, if there is no God, no karma, no surveillance state, you are alive but eternally condemned as a criminal. You live out your days as a villain. If you choose A, legalism, you are dead but vindicated.
Which is the rational theological wager.
The text implies B is the only path to true grace. You must be willing to completely let go of the proof to live the truth. You have to risk being misunderstood to be saved.
That is terrifying, because what if the line is dead? What if the Magnaview is broken?
Then you are just a pirate on a dissolving ship. But that's the nature of faith. It's not a contract, it's a jump.
Well, on that existential cliffhanger, the story leaves us with Ron Jordan sitting on the hull, watching the Lucifer dissolve. We really must ask ourselves, when the patrol finally hails us, will we be found holding the gun or holding the evidence? Or does it even matter, as long as the hull we stand on is disappearing beneath our feet?
A question for the ages.
Indeed. Until the next treatise.